Your Grand Island, Hastings, and Kearney local forecast with meteorologist Kit Cloninger.
Well, rainy skies and pretty dreary conditions are continuing today from yesterday, in fact, and it's just making for a gloomy end to what was a pretty nice week for the first half at least. We're looking over Lincoln, Kearney, Hastings, Grand Island, all gray skies, but out to the west, like if you looked at Scotts Bluff, it'd actually be nice and sunny right now, but unfortunately, this is going to be sticking around through most of the day today. Looking at satellite and radar in the wide picture with some of the surface features here, we've seen some of these outflow boundaries here with this started to continue. So this is actually what's called a mesoscale convective system, big fancy term for a line of thunderstorms. But that's actually started to move into the Ozarks there, and it started to develop this little low pressure system there. So right at the start here, we see that bow, and it starts to move out, and that sort of started to pivot all of this moisture right here in the Nebraska-Kansas area. And so it's basically just putting that fire hose right over our area, keeping it coming. And it's going to eventually lift to the northeast, and that'll actually be contributing to some nicer conditions for the start of Saturday. So that will be something we can look forward to. But then later on in the evening for parts of Nebraska, we are looking at a chance for some more thunderstorms later on in the afternoon and evening. But Sunday into Monday, our extended holiday weekend, it looks like it's going to be rather dreary and cool once again. Back into the 60s for Memorial Day, unfortunately. And then we'll see those temperatures, of course, right when we have to go back to work, warming right back up with a lot more dry conditions. So if you want to make any weekend plans outside, plan them for tomorrow morning. That's going to be the best chance you'll have. Looking at the temperatures around the area, Valentine already up to 71 degrees. We only wish we could get up there. We're still in the low 60s and upper 50s here in the Tri-Cities. We haven't budged our temperature since earlier this morning, in fact. Looking at satellite and radar now in the closer view, we see just all of this moisture that's been coming in through the Tri-Cities area. Lincoln really hasn't seen a whole lot of rain this morning. Most of it has been south into Gage County. It's actually lifted there over the last couple of hours. Looking south of the Tri-Cities area here in northern Kansas, you can basically point out right about there is probably the center of that weak low pressure center that's moving through our area. So everything else is pivoting around that and basically acting like a fire hose here for the Tri-Cities area. So Grand Island, some moderate to heavy rain at the moment right now. A little bit less just to the southeast of the Highway 30 corridor or so. So eventually we'll see that lighten up just a little bit. But as it starts to pivot around this area, we'll continue to see the rain pile up. Just radar estimated rainfall over the past 48 hours, we've seen upwards of 4 to 6 inches around the Kearney area, 3 to 5 in the Grand Island. Only about 1 to 3 for the Hastings area. As we were talking about earlier, aerial flood advisory is still in effect for another 2 minutes or so, but we'll likely see some other areas here in central and northeastern Nebraska likely to see a little bit more flooding later on today. Looking at Futurecast, here's the reason why we continue to see that very heavy rainfall across northeastern Nebraska until the evening hours. That eventually moves into Iowa, as we've been waiting for it to do over the past day or so now. By Saturday, we'll have a lot more clear skies, warming us up very quickly, and a little bit more in the way of some thunderstorms across the north. It won't be all that much. Looking at rain totals so far today, we've seen upwards of 1 inch in the Tri-Cities already, and it looks like we're going to be adding maybe another 1.25 to 2 inches on top of that. Alyssa?